Leonid Tolkachev is a famous triathlete and coach from the Belarusian city of Mogilev. Every day, he runs 5 kilometers, rides a bicycle 50 kilometers, and swims about 2 kilometers. There would be nothing surprising in these results if it were not for the age of the athlete. Leonid Tolkachev is now 83 years old. He is the first triathlon athlete in his country and has made sport his way of life and continues to inspire athletes from around the world. This strong man continues to participate in IRONMAN competitions to this day, looks great and even plans to set a Guinness World Record. How does he manage all this? Watch this issue to the end, and you will learn about all the secrets, thanks to which Leonid Tolkachev remains in excellent physical shape even at the age of 83. The man was born in 1940. Leonid Tolkachev spent his childhood in Siberia. His grandfather, a peasant, moved there in the early 20th century from Belarus. Children and grandchildren were born in harsh conditions and were forced to work from an early age. There was never enough firewood. Already at the age of 11, my father took me to the forest with him. We sawed birch trees with a handsaw, loaded them on a horse, and took me home to warm our house. I grew up in Siberia, where most of the time the weather is cold, strong wind, and snow around the waist. Since childhood, I had to constantly face all these natural conditions, and perhaps it played a small role in my endurance and willpower, recalls Leonid Tolkachev. Every day he spent 2 hours to walk to school and return home, and then calculated that if he ran back and forth instead of walking, then this way he would cut the travel time in half. I've been doing sports all my life. Here in this photo is 1956, Siberia. I'm 16 years old here. It was my first time at a skiing competition and I took first place. At the same time, my rivals were adult men. I've been working with these dumbbells almost all my life. There are 12 kilograms each. I mostly use them for morning exercises. I have changed several apartments in my life, but these dumbbells are always with me. They're like a talisman to me. I love sports and nature so much that sometimes I wake up at 4 in the morning and I already want to go outside and run in the fresh air to the singing of birds. But I have to stop myself, otherwise I won't get enough sleep at all. I force myself to fall asleep and I wake up only at 6 in the morning. Every morning is happiness for me. I have a quick breakfast, put on my uniform and go for a run. I was lucky that an excellent sports ground was recently built next to my house. I'm doing a warm-up here and going to run to the stadium. I pull up 12 times on a horizontal bar and I do push-ups 25 times on the uneven bars. Here's my bike. I've been riding it for 30 years. This is my second mascot. He's with me everywhere. I was 8 years old when I first learned about cycling. I immediately fell in love with it. A year later, my father bought me a bicycle, after which I began to train hard. When I was 14 years old, I drove 100 kilometers every day. A few years later, I became a master of sports. My wife is a unique person. She always creates excellent conditions for me so that I can train in peace. We've been together for 57 years. If it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have achieved the results I came to. But sometimes she scolds me for training too hard and hard, worried about me and my health, but I feel great. I've been used to such loads for a long time. It's already familiar to me. Friends, before we continue, we ask you to like and leave a comment under the video. This will help promote it, which will become motivation for even more people. So let's continue. I recently read on the internet that it turns out you need to train 120 minutes a week, and I train 180 minutes a day. In the morning, I ride a bicycle 45 kilometers, and in the evening either jogging or swimming. I swim an average of 1 or 2 kilometers per day. And I usually run in this park. It's also not far from my house. I'm lucky here too, that it's near my house. I really love this place. This is the first time I participated in Ironman in this photo. This photo was taken after 180-kilometer distance on a bicycle. We drove through mud and rain. We were exhausted, dirty, but happy then. I'm very glad that I still have the desire to fight to the limit. Usually by old age this feeling disappears, but my doctor friend Make sure that my pulse doesn't accelerate more than 120 beats per minute. Still, at my age, you need to know the edge, but it's difficult for me. It's hard to stop. I always want to go further, bigger, higher. Here in this pond, I usually spend my workouts in the warm season, and in winter, I go swimming in the pool, which by the way is also not far from my house. I am glad that when I train here, many young guys look at me and get motivated. A lot of guys followed my example and started training with me. This is very gratifying. After all the training, I return home, where my beloved wife is waiting for me. She monitors my nutrition and always cooks delicious food. I'm very grateful to her for that. I have not eaten flour and sugar for a long time, but I use cottage cheese and kefir in large quantities. Also, there is always honey in my diet. In the morning, I always drink a glass of warm water with honey. For lunch, I definitely eat a salad of vegetables. It is also important to train not only my muscles and joints, but also my brain. I always try to solve puzzles, play various educational games, and read interesting articles on the internet. It all helps to keep my brain in tone. Leonid Tolkachev's son followed in his father's footsteps and also became an athlete. In 1990, they decided to try triathlon for the first time. Then it seems something unusual and new, but the fact is undeniable. Leonid Tolkachev can be safely called the founder of triathlon in his country. Triathlon is 3 different sports with their own strengths and weaknesses. In each of them, muscles work completely differently. Different strength characteristics, recovery also occurs in different ways. It's not an easy sport, but my son and I decided to try it, the man recalls. Then Leonid Tolkachev was 50 years old, and he turned out to be the oldest participant at the event. Since then, the athlete annually participates in competitions and continues to maintain himself in decent physical shape. Friends, for those who do not understand what we're talking about, we will explain. IRONMAN competition is a triathlon, the norms of which are beyond the power of many young men. The competition itself consists of 3 continuous distances. An open water swim of 3 kilometers. All swim at the same time in a limited area of the reservoir. A bicycle race on a track for 180 kilometers. A marathon race with a distance of 42 kilometers. Leonid Yakovlevich can no longer imagine himself without sports. He claims that opportunities are not important in sports. You can train in any conditions. There would be desire and health. The athlete dreams of setting a Guinness World Record as the oldest participant in the IRONMAN competition and does not plan to stop on the way to this goal. And we believe that he will succeed. Friends, what do you think about this man? Feel free to write your opinion in the comments. If this video was useful for you, then share it with your friends and like it.